Le Vibe podcast. Welcome back. Oh, let me come over here. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back, man. Um, is it this way or that way? Let's get let's get that way. There it is. Okay. Let's get it right. Let's get it tight. Um, Excuse the mess behind me, fam. I haven't had an opportunity. I haven't had time to, uh, you know, knock out things in the room. So, excuse the mess. But today, first and foremost, I want to welcome you to another episode of Levi Podcast. I go by the name of Bake, and here at Levi, we build relationships centered around love. Man, it's been a minute since I've been able to give you guys some content because work and school and everything under the sun has been crazy, but I'm grateful to come with y'all with another topic today. Today we talking about lists. Yeah, a lot of you guys talk about lists and you create these lists. And these lists are an ideal of a person you want to aspire to be. We call them our dream partner, right? Our ideal soulmate. The person, if I had an opportunity to talk to and be with, this would be the person that I would be with. And they got to have a certain things, right? And we're going to talk about those certain things and certain things you need to put on your list. But I got a caveat for you. The list that you want, you got to be willing to provide those things too. So I'm going to give you some things that you may want to look into and maybe want to find in a particular soul mate. But before I do that, let's talk about the list. Why do we have lists? What's the list for? That's one of the $1,000,000 questions. What is the list for? I can tell you right now, it's because it creates standards for us. It's a standard. It's something that we can measure a person by. If they meet a certain standard, then they're eligible for me to want to consider to date them and talk to them. Y'all know the vibes. Y'all know why we do these lists. It's if they don't meet my expectations, it's almost like your resume, or not resume, but your job description. These are the things you must have in order to date me. These are the things you must have in order to talk to me. These are the things you must have in order for me to pursue you. These are the things you must have in order for me to wife you up. We all have our own expectations. And sometimes when you put these expectations on people, usually they let you down because your expectations may not be their expectations, and you're going to be deficient in one department or the other. So when you think about these lists can be looked at in multiple different ways. It can be looked at as a way where you're being confined or confined. You're being bound. You're being put in a box. And you're only looking at it from a certain lens or a certain view. And so when that happens, you miss out on some fruit that's out there because you're so focused on things that's on your list that you don't see the beauty in other folks that may not be on your list of expectations, but they have a lot of great things to offer to you. And that's something to consider because a list, just like a job description, it's only there to be placed in context, also for you to have boundaries, or not boundaries per se, but standards, something to measure by, right? That's what we like to do. We like to measure people. So if I have a list, and on my list, I'm looking for a woman that has X, Y, and Z. If she doesn't have those X, Y, and Z's, then that's somebody I won't consider. But the crazy part about a list, just like a job, that we can be flexible when we want to be flexible. What happens when we have a list, or we have a standard, I should say, And the person we know we talking to know dang well they don't measure up to our standard. But they have something about them that makes me want them even more and makes me want to talk to them even more. And I indulge in that to only wild up end up being more hurt, more crushed. And then I end up putting more things on this list of expectations that only makes it complicated and difficult for somebody that maybe God has for me and not more so of the worldly list or characteristics. And that's a whole nother topic that we'll dive into just a little bit. I want you to know your list is based off what you think you need. You know, when you see a lot of women, and you know, the common ones, I need a man that's tall, I need a man that's provides safety and security, I need a man that's financially stable, I need a man that can do X, Y, and Z. For my men, I need a shorty that's fine. I need a shorty that's in shape. I need a shorty that got a good personality. I need a shorty that's thick. I need a shorty that's submissive. I need a shorty, blase, blase, blah. You think you need those things, but God has a great way of revealing what you truly need. God knows there's no one should be alone. And like we said in the last video, that doesn't mean you have to be in a relationship right now, but he didn't create this world and he didn't create us for us to be single forever. You see Adam, he created Eve for Adam. He saw what it looks like for somebody to be alone. In this walk, when you're trying to be better, when you're trying to get right, it's tough to do it when you're doing it alone. When you're in a relationship and you're trying to make it work, it's tough to do that when you're doing it alone. So it's designed by nature for us to have a mate. So for this soulmate, you got these lists. And I'm going to tell you some of the things you need to have on this list. And I'm going to tell you this, the stuff that you put on the list, you better make sure that you're able to give it back tenfold. I think one of the things you need to put on this list is whoever your partner has to have some humility to them. And what I mean by that, they are willing to do things that they may not thought that they would ever do for the greater good of a relationship. Meaning, if you are a man and quote unquote, you don't cook, you never cooked in your life, and your wife and your partner and your confidant, your best friend is needing you to cook for that night, and you say, I ain't cooking, I just order food. Right? I get it. You providing food by ordering, but she wanted you to cook the meal. Or she wanted to have a cooked meal from you. If you don't cook, I get it. Then that I understand it. But if you know you can cook, and I don't even think it's sometimes about if you can cook or not. I think it's just more about being willing to do it. That's the art of it. Now I get it. Some dudes like, man, I just buy. I get food. I bring some food home. Cool. But sometimes I give you a better example because that people can try to wiggle their way out of that. Washing the dishes. Let's say you can't afford a dishwasher. I know a lot of homes come with them now. And your wife is cooked or your girl is cooked a dinner or whatnot, and the dishes is in the sink. You know what I'm saying? And she said, babe, I had a long day. I'm tired. Can you wash the dishes for me? If you come from a mindset where I don't do dishes, that's a woman's job, that's not a mindset of humility. Humility is swallowing your pride and saying, all right, baby, I got you. Ladies, if you don't like sports and your boo loves sports and he want to go to a sports game, but you don't love sports at all, humility is saying, I'm going to go because I'm going to go. Right? Or I'm going to talk about sports. Even though I know I don't know lick or nothing, I'm going to pay attention when he's talking about sports. I'm going to swallow my pride and say, I hear you, babe. Really? For real? So on your list, that person should have humility. Right? Another characteristic that a person should have when you're creating your soulmate on your list, it's someone who is driven. And what I mean by driven, I mean someone who is willing to do whatever it takes for the greater good of your relationship. Someone who is intentional about trying to do whatever it takes to make their partner happy. They're intuitive. They pay attention. They listen. They know the little crevices and things that they need to do to make sure that they can support their partner in their relationship journey. And I know you like, wait a minute. This dude is saying a lot of other characteristics ain't got nothing to do with money, nothing to do with this. Now that list is more of a worldly list. I get it. You want your man to be financially stable, and we'll give you your plan B list if that's the list that you want to create. But I'm trying to give you a list that represents a person character, because those other things like money, those other things like a job, those other things that can always fluctuate, we can always change those because those are never guaranteed. But you should always guarantee how you are and the person you want to be, regardless of the circumstance, regardless of the situation, to your partner. You want to make sure that you are driven. Have that person that you want to be driven. On this list, you want your person to be accountable. Accountable to the point where if they make a mistake, they can say, I'm sorry. Accountable to the point where if they give you their word, they're actually going to follow suit. And if they can't follow suit, they can be accountable to say, hey, I bit on more than I can chew. I can't do it this time, but I promise you I'm going to do what I can to try to do it next time. Accountability. When you see in a lot of relationships today, they're lacking accountability. They're lacking the ability to want to make sure that they keep their word. That's why a lot of folks don't like to commit, because of the accountability aspect to it. Because if you say you're going to be in a relationship with somebody, and you say you're going to try to work, and you say you're going to give everything you got, and you're saying you're going to be faithful and all these things, you're accountable to your words. You're accountable to your actions. So it's better now, or easier now, I should say, that we say, all right, it's cool. This is a situationship. This is not really like a relationship. This is just, you know what this is. It's a sneaky link. It's a situationship. Accountability. Number 4, you want somebody who is loyal. Somebody who is loyal. Somebody who's going to have your back no matter the situation. See, a lot of times when you have relationships, let's say if your boo get fired from a job, and this is how sometimes you can tell when you have a disloyal relationship, is when your girlfriends tell their girlfriends like, yeah, he ain't got no job. He out here living he ain't trying to do nothing with himself. Instead of bigging your man up and saying, he just looking for some new opportunities right now, but hey, he's getting it together. I love what he's doing. He's been applying, and I got his back. I've been helping him out. I want my baby gonna get a job. If your girl, fellas, if your girl, you know what I'm saying, is let's just say, what's a good one for my ladies, man? What's a good one? When is loyal. When your girl go out, when your girl go out of town, you know what I'm saying, or just anywhere, and fellas is plugging these things in your ear, like, she out there in the club, you know she with Usher right now, she letting Usher hug on her at the show, some dude sliding in her DMs, did you check it, putting all these things where you can start thinking that your girl ain't gonna be loyal to you, right? But at the end of the day, you debunk that. Said, no, my girl good. I trust my girl. She's straight. I ain't got to worry about that. I know what type of woman I married. Yeah, I need to get y'all stuff in order because I ain't got to worry about those things. My wife is, and my girl is here. I know where her heart lies. I know where her heart lies. I know where she wants to be. I know where she lay her head down at night. Right? And hopefully it's your wife or whatever. But I get it. Some people not. They're not doing it that way. So they're in long-term relationships, been together for like 5, 6, 7 years, and y'all still don't commit. That's something we got to talk about. But loyal. I think this one is a big one, but I got a bonus from you for you guys because y'all know I always keep a bonus for you. Number 5, respectful. You want your partner to be respectful. Put that on that list. Respectful. Okay? Respectful in the sense of they can articulate their opinions, their emotions, their point of view in a respectful way where they're not belittling, disrespecting, and trying to embarrass somebody to get their point across. They're respectful. See, a lot of folks are in relationships that there's no respect. They talk about their partner behind their back. They talk about their partner in general, and all they doing is disrespecting their relationship. And they're letting their relationship being exposed to their friends about how this and that, but then they come and then they put counterfeits. I call them counterfeit relationships. Relationships that look real. Relationships that look like there's love. Relationships that look like there's trust. Relationships that look like they're going to go the distance, but they never do. And we always say, wow, what happened? They was counterfeit. They looked the part. But you know when you see a real $100 bill, or you know when you have a real $100 bill, you can get that little marker and you rub the little marker on the $100 bill, and if it makes a certain color, you know it's counterfeit. But if it don't make a certain color, you know it's real. In 2024, there's a lot of counterfeit relationships. A lot of relationships that look the part but not real in any kind of substance. They're not real in any kind of way. The only real thing is that they probably about to end up single. So respect. And then I can give you more and more and more, but these things that I'm giving you are character builders. And if you don't have these 5 principles in your life or on your list, you're looking at a list the wrong way. See, most lists are you looking at what a person can do for you. That's why we create the list. Why do you want somebody that's tall rather than somebody that's short? Sometimes y'all don't even know why y'all want these things. Sometimes you don't even know why you like these things. You know what I'm saying? Why do you want somebody who got $100 million or $100,000 or 60, 70, 80,000, $90,000 versus somebody who got $40,000, who got $50,000? Why do you want those things? Because we're looking at what I can gain by having that. Because you're thinking like I got more money, that means I got more resources. That means I got more opportunities to do more things. But just because we got more things don't mean I'm with the person I'm supposed to be with. And I'm not saying to settle for less. I'm just trying to get you to understand that a lot of the things on your list are a list that has stuff to do with what can you do for me. You hear it all the time. How can you help me be better? Me. Not how can we be better, is how can you uplift me? How can you add to my life? How can I'm a victim of this. I used to look at it the same way. I used to say these same things, so don't feel bad. But that's the mindset. It's a me mentality. When we create these lists, I'm looking at these lists because this is things that I would feel like can add to me. I like a woman that's attractive because it makes me feel good that I got a baddie. Come on now. I like a brother that's 6 foot because I feel like he's athletic and I feel secure and he's tall and I can hug on him. And I feel safe when I'm around him. I ain't got to worry about nobody putting their hands on me because I got a 6 foot. But 9 times out of 10, people don't hit no more. They usually shoot. And last time I checked, a bullet can go through a 6 footer, a 5 footer, a 2 footer, a 3 footer, and a 12. It doesn't matter what foot you are. Anybody can get dropped with a bullet. But I want you guys to stop creating these materialistic lists. Stop creating lists that are all centered around what they can do for your life. Because a lot of things is not necessarily about you. When you look at a relationship, it's not about you. It's not about them. It's about the both of you. When you look at a relationship, how can we add to each other's lives? How can we support each other's lives? How can we big or improve each other's lives rather than how can you help my life get better? And one of the things I try to do is I try not to look at people based off where they're at right now. And I try to look at the person based off who they are. And sometimes I fall victim to these lists and these expectations that are worldly. But let me get you to the point before I let you go. The point that is probably one of the most important points. Instead of having a worldly list, transition that to a godly list. Usually worldly lists end up broken because you're looking for everything superficial, and the things I try to give you on this list were character builders. You can't fake superficial character because eventually the real is going to overcome. The true self is going to reveal. So as much as you try to present yourself a certain way, once your guard is down, once you're comfortable, the true self is going to come. That's why I always try to be me. I tell people, look, man, one of my things is I'm trying to be a better version. I know my weaknesses. I'm a very sexual person. And when you don't have sex, when you're not around, like having sex or doing things sexually, your body yearns, the flesh yearns for those sexual things, man. And a lot of times I get caught, being around beautiful women that sometimes I just want to do some sexual things. And one of the reasons why I wanted to be celibate is because I'm tired of being in a relationship for a sexual reason and not an emotional and a spiritual and a different type of mindset. You know what I mean? I've I've tried to what's the word that I'm thinking of? I try to deny it, but I'm human. But I know my things. Some of my lists, I like women who have some yams in the back. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why. I mean, it's just something about yams. I don't know what it do to me, but I'm attracted to them things, man. I have no idea why. Ain't nothing wrong with my pancake booties. I'm just saying, it's just when you got a little yam, a little yump in the back of that trunk, your boy is a little bit different. And maybe the girl I end up being with don't have no yams. God, please don't give me somebody who don't got yams. But if you do, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. But I ain't trying to get off tangent. At the end of the day, the number one thing you want to have is a godly list. Make sure those characteristics that you're putting down are from a God's point of view. It's from a God's perspective. Because when you have God in it, those things don't break. When you have God in it, those things stand the test of time. When you have God in it, those things go the distance. Now, I'm not saying you can't be successful without God, because there are some relationships that are going long term, but they never have God, and kudos to them. But I'm telling you the formula, because every relationship is going to have some turbulence. Every relationship is going to have some hardships. Every relationship is going to have a struggle. Every relationship is going to have a point when you're going through a season. And when you have worldly foundations, that relationship never lasts. It usually falls apart. Get some godly foundation in that. And start working on your character instead of looking for lists of things that people can bring to you. And I get it. Hey, this may not be for you. But I assure you, when you start looking at the world for not what I want in a partner of how what they can do for me, but how can we support each other? How can we build each other up? How can we, encourage each other? How can we grow together? It's a different mindset. So y'all know the five. I hope you wrote them down. I did. Accountability, respect, humility. Come on now. Loyal, you know. And I'll give you one more because accountability lies in that, but trust. 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 Whoever that person that you're looking for, hopefully there's trust in their heart. Hopefully there's trust where and that goes with accountability, but I just feel like trust is a big word because we don't trust each other. And a lot of relationships don't last because of trust. And I don't know, something was in my heart just said trust, trust, trust. Whoever that person is, you got to make sure you trust them. And if you have a God's foundation in it, He gonna provide you those people to trust. But you know, it is what it is. If we don't, or if we choose to, I'm just trying to get the knowledge out for y'all. That's all I'm trying to do, fam. And whether you receive the knowledge or you don't, it's out there. But I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for tuning in for another episode of the Vibe Podcast. And I hope, regardless of if you find that person or not, be the people on your list. Be the people, be that person on your list. Be that representation. Because what you put out usually come right back to you. But I love you. You already know here at the Vibe, it's not about one person. It's not about the other person. It's about two beings coming together become one. Because we build a relationship centered around love. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Have an amazing week. Take care of yourself. Peace.